satisfy the needs of the culture, enrich the culture, empower the culture, defend the culture, advance the interests of the culture. And how then does the culture implant its spirit into its members? It does it in a very strong and primordial way. It uses vehicles. And one of the major vehicles that's used is music, rhythm.
First of all, my name is Professor Griff. I'm the Minister of Information for Public Enemy, socially, politically conscious hip-hop group. And hip-hop is high infinite power healing our people. And my role was the Minister of Information. My role also was the leader of the S1Ws, and S1W stands for Security of the First World. We secured the fact that we're first world people and not third world people. So yeah, those were my roles. Everything else that came with the job, you know, you have to bring instinctively. You just can't. Yes, no, you don't fill out an application. It's like, yo, you and the homies, you and the cats in your hood want to put together this group. Yeah, so we kind of made it happen.
Okay. Awesome. Now being a pioneer of hip hop, you know, you basically helped raise the child of hip hop, you know.
Well, you kind of figure hip hop is almost 30 years, probably 30 years or some years old. So yeah. Okay. So now we have a 30-year-old. Yeah. Now we have a 30-year-old young man and woman.
Okay.
Called hip hop.
Okay. Well, let's take that. Now,
okay.
You played a big part in forming the identity of hip hop.
Cultural identity.
Cultural identity.
Right.
As it was being broadcast to the world as a whole.
Through the African grapevine, not by them other people. Because the thing that they was projecting was commercialism.
Exactly.
Because they wanted to sell more product. Everything that we taught, we had to kind of get it to our people by any, every, and all means necessary through the African grapevine.
And what was it like being the type of group that you were, making the type of content in the world of other artists who weren't making similar content?
We didn't care what they made.
How was PE viewed by the peers?
They were afraid, to a degree.
Okay.
For the simple fact that, damn, how do you battle those dudes? You understand what I'm saying? I mean, what do you do to, it's like, how do you come on stage after them? Like, what do you say? So it forced a lot of them to clean some of that stuff up, man. And of course, the Two Live crew didn't care. The Too Shorts of the world didn't care. But they showed us a level of respect as artists, and we showed them respect as artists. Yeah.
Exactly.
So most of them was like, oh man, these dudes is bringing the pain. And then we had groups that really brought the pain, Wu-Tang, Goody Mob, and other groups that came after us, still speaking knowledge, still speaking degrees of truth, but it's in a different way. Yeah. Hell, Wu-Tang Clan threatened your ass threatened you into knowing some stuff. Goody Mob gave it to you in a southernistic, playlistic kind of thing. You understand what I'm saying? But nonetheless, all necessary. All of it was necessary.
Awesome, awesome. Now, like earlier when I introduced myself, I let you know that I am a candidate for KISD school board. We live in a town that has a roughly 75% minority school district. 50% of those children are black. So
taught by white women.
Taught by middle-aged white women, you know. And
yeah.
Our school board does not reflect the body that it governs.
Nor does the education, nor does the books.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so that's what kind of compelled me to even put my hat out there. You know, I'm a simple person. 50% of the people in this district are black just like me, and none of the people that govern or make any of the decisions are black, nor do they understand the needs of a black child.
Right.
So we live in a time where we had 16 murders last year. 15 of them were black. 15 of them were black on black crime. This year, to start off 2017, we've already had 7 murders.
Wow.
Now, to put it in perspective, we used to average about 6 murders a year. Then after Hurricane Katrina happened and the the
demographic
people around us
changed.
changed a lot. You know, we're averaging about 12 per year, which is stabilized over the past 7 years. And like I said, last year we had 16. This year we're on pace for 28. In a time like this, anytime it's a murder, everyone knows who was murdered. You know, the 6 degrees of separation are very real here. You know, because it's only about 140,000 people here. You know, and so that's what kind of compelled me to want to get conflict resolution into our KISD system here. Because at the end of the day, our children learn 12 years of reading, writing, and math. And there are sets of circumstances that exist that they may never use one or all three. But there's not a set of circumstances that exist where they will not have to navigate some sort of conflict.
Right.
And you know, and we can't prevent murders, but we can equip people with the skills to better manage conflict. You know, and so that's my whole platform. That's what I'm about, just trying to equip our children with the tools so we can try to minimize this because, you know, we go to more funerals than we do college
graduations, right? Okay.
You know. And so how important do you feel that how important is conflict resolution when it comes to Black Americans and America as a whole?
Well, I think those are the valuable lessons that should be taught in the home. When I say in the home, I mean, how do I resolve the conflict with self? And then if I see the average Black person as an enemy instead of an ally, or instead of viewing and seeing a Black person and seeing myself, this conflict and something is set in motion as far as conflict is concerned that I never knew existed. I never set it in motion and don't know whether or not it exists from person to person, but I find myself having to deal with it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's very important. We're having conflict in the conscious community among so-called people that claim to know. You understand what I'm saying? I think that's going to increase though, because we have a president now that don't mind being a bully. And we've driven by, those people that's in my circle have driven by schools that have a no bullying zone, man. You understand? They have no bullying signs up in high schools. But to have a president who's the commander in chief of the country, supposed to be the ultimate role model for young kids, bullying people and bullying governments, not good, man. So it's important to put some things in place that's going to counteract that whole mindset of bullying and conflict resolution. We need some practical steps. We don't need anything that they have to pretty much kind of figure out. It's simple. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Call people by their names. You understand what I'm saying? Just basic stuff that need to be in place. And it need to be enforced and reinforced by parents who don't get involved in their children's education. It need to be enforced by the teacher, of course, but it needs to be enforced by every able-bodied and mature adult that's around every child. The mere fact, Kaba Kwabene teaches that your children are my children. When they come in my presence, I become their father. You understand what I'm saying? So it's no longer, I can't discipline your children. You have to know and understand the code. Plain and simple. Else this conflict resolution thing that you got going on will never work. If I'm in this store and the mom standing at the counter forgot her wallet and have to go back outside, and her child decided to put one of these things up under their coat, yeah, I become the parent at that point. Discipline them. Then when the mom come in and explain it, she has to, basically, give thanks. That's the way it should be done. Because the second she leaves the store and then a pedophile comes in, I have to defend her child, she would thank me in that instance. But would she thank me in the other instance? So anytime I'm around your children, her children, whoever's children, I become that parent, and vice versa. Plain and simple. That's where the conflict resolution educational component should start.
Awesome. Now, at this point, I just want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for every bit of experience that you had in life that allowed you to become who you are.
Oh, give thanks.
And definitely, it's just awesome because a lot of young people think that hip hop is a young man's game. And one thing that I've always said is it's a veteran sport because in order to be a great artist, you have to have some sort of experience. And the more experienced you are, the more tools that you have to make art.
Right, right.
And I think that hip hop is the only genre that we view our past as old school.
Right. I think I hear a lot of artists talk about they've retired. They think rap is for kids. No. Hip hop is high infinite power healing our people. It's our culture. So then even if I stop doing one aspect of it, which is rapping, what is wrong with doing other aspects like I am doing? I'm an author. That's part of being a graph writer. I'm a writer, I'm an author. So I can take my rightful place as an elder in hip hop without looking at it like it's a young man's game or little kid's thing. You understand what I'm saying? All the other cultures do it. We just have to find our way back home, that's all. That's it. All right. It's a pleasure. Yes, sir. All right, man. All right, peace.